All right, quick thing before we start. If this podcast has been your weekly exhale, thank you. No, really, thank you. And thank you for your patience as I slowly bring in new things like guest host and live meditations and maybe even crochet tutorials. Not really, but I don't know, maybe, I don't know. But I'm also deep into writing my next album, which I will be recording this October, which is just over a month away. So if you would like to support all of this, head over to calmitdownpodcast.com and click deeper. You will get early access to the episodes. You get daily affirmations every weekday, and just knowing that you're part of what keeps things like this going. And truly, thank you for sticking around while I figure all of this out. No, really, it's not lost on me. Thank you. It means so much. And now, on with the program. Why do we argue? The other night, I watched my two boys in what could only be called a high-stakes courtroom drama. Yes, it's true. The topic: whether a hot dog is a sandwich. Now, you would think this would be a passing comment at the dinner table, but no. Voices rose, arms waved. The energy in the room felt like a jury deliberation, not two kids holding hot dogs over the kitchen. That is just not what it seemed like. Now, at first, I laughed, but then I heard something. One of them said, "You're not listening to me." And the other one yelled back, "Well, you're not hearing me either." And then suddenly it clicked. This wasn't really about hot dogs. It was about being heard. I'm Chad Lawson, and let's calm it down in 3, 2, 1. What is beneath the surface of every argument? Here's the thing that I've noticed. Most arguments aren't really about what they look like they're about. They wear disguises. Maybe it's money or politics or whose turn is it to walk the dog. But beneath all of that is something a lot simpler and much more human. The real fight isn't about being right. It's about feeling heard. Why do voices get louder? Right? Have you ever noticed this? I mean, why do words get sharper? Well, because somewhere deep down, we're afraid that our voice doesn't matter. And so if our softer tone isn't getting through, we turn up the volume. We escalate. We demand attention. So is anger a sign of weakness? Here's a belief of mine that not everyone is going to agree with. But I personally think anger is a sign of weakness. Now, not weakness in the sense of being less than. Weakness in the sense of not having the tools and the moment to express what's really going on. Anger is often what shows up when vulnerability doesn't feel safe. It's the last resort of someone who just feels completely ignored, right? So, I mean, think of it this way. If I trust you enough to hear me speak gently, I won't need to raise my voice. But if I feel invisible, unheard, or dismissed, the volume rises. And then the louder I get. And then the less likely you are to hear me. I mean, that's the irony of the argument, right? I mean, the harder we fight to be heard, the harder it becomes to actually connect. Because which one are you trying to do? I mean, what's really happening inside, right? I mean, part of this is biology. When we feel unheard, our nervous system reacts as if we're in danger, okay? So like our heart rate goes up, our muscles tense, and the adrenaline kicks in. Our brain shifts from reasoning to reacting. We're no longer having a conversation. We are in survival mode. And survival mode, let's be honest, it's not built for listening. It's built for defense. So the shouting, the interruptions, the slammed doors, they're not just bad manners. They're the sound of someone's nervous system crying out, I matter. Don't overlook me. Hear me. So then the real question behind the fight, what is it? Because if we strip away the shouting, there's usually a quieter question underneath every argument. Have you thought about this? Do I matter to you? Does my voice matter? Do you see me? When you hear it that way, everything changes. Suddenly, the person across from you, they're not your enemy. They're not trying to destroy you. They're not trying to disappear. But this brings up a really interesting point, which is the emptiness of winning. Let me ask you this. Have you ever, quote unquote, won an argument? I mean, you laid out the case, you got the last word, you proved your point, and yet afterward, something still felt off. Well, that's because winning an argument, it's not the same as connecting. You can be right and still be alone. And if the whole point of communication is connection, then maybe the goal isn't victory. Maybe it's understanding. Which then brings us to listening as an act of healing. So what do we do differently? Well, it starts with listening. And I don't mean the polite kind of listening where you're just waiting for your turn. I mean like really listening with the intent to understand, not to reply. You don't have to agree. I'm going to say that again. You don't have to agree. You don't even have to change your mind. But you can give the other person the dignity of saying, I hear you. That's all they're looking for. Sometimes that's all it takes. Not agreement, not solutions, just acknowledgement. Yeah, so let me share a simple shift, okay? Here's a trick that works surprisingly well that I have found. When someone raises their voice, lower yours. You've heard this before. I mean, it feels counterintuitive, right? But it's really powerful. A lowered voice signals safety. It breaks the cycle. And then suddenly the energy in the room, it shifts from collision to conversation. It's like turning down the background noise so you can finally hear the melody of the song, right? And when you're not the one that's being heard, then what, right? I mean, what about when you're the one feeling invisible, though? Because that's the hard part. Like when you feel like you're repeating yourself and no one is listening, right? Well, here's the shift. Instead of getting louder, try getting clearer. Instead of saying, you're not listening, try saying, hey, you know what? I don't feel like I'm explaining this well. Do you see the difference? Right? One creates defensiveness. You're not hearing me. The other one invites curiosity. And more often than not, curiosity, it opens the door that shouting slams shut. So this week, I want to give you a challenge. Here is something that you can try no matter the time, okay? The next time that you feel an argument is rising, pause. Pause for just a moment. And then ask yourself, what is this person really trying to tell me? Instead of preparing your comeback, reflect back on what you hear. Say, so you're feeling overlooked. Or, I really see this matters to you. And if you're not the one feeling heard, then simply try naming it. Hey, I'm frustrated because I don't feel like I'm getting this across. You would be surprised how quickly that simple statement can soften the whole conversation. Try it. Like, really, just try it. Oh, and back to the hot dog. As for my boys, once each of them felt heard, the tension broke, right? I mean, they kind of like, we're talking about a hot dog. And then suddenly they weren't opponents anymore. They were co-investigators, right? Googling, solving a mystery together, trying to figure out if a hot dog is a sandwich. For the record, we decided hot dogs, they belong in their own special category. And it's true. Not a sandwich. It's not a sandwich, just a hot dog. Anyway, you get my point. And isn't that the point, though? I mean, once the deeper need is met, the need to feel heard, the surface issue, it loses its grip. So maybe the next time you find yourself in an argument, I want you to remember this. The shouting, it's not really about winning. It's about mattering. Because underneath all the noise, what we all want is really simple, to be honest. Just to be heard, to be seen, to be understood. And that's where connection begins. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for living. And until next time, be kind to your mind. Join me again as we calm it down. To find more episodes of Calm It Down, see where I may be appearing in your area, or just simply want to know where to send me some chocolate chip cookies, visit calmitdownpodcast.com. This podcast was written and produced by yours truly, Chad Lawson, composer, pianist, and nationally recognized sweet tooth. The views, expressions, and techniques in this episode are of my personal opinion and not intended, nor should they, serve as a substitute for medical advice or diagnosis rendered to you by your individual doctor or other healthcare provider. Only a licensed physician should evaluate your situation, provide a diagnosis, or render other medical advice to you. And you should only act upon the advice of this physician. Now, I'm an extreme empath by nature, but my profession is that of a composer and pianist, not a licensed therapist or physician. I hear from thousands of listeners how my music has helped them through various stages of emotional needs, and I simply want to offer this in future podcast episodes to aid those needs. So to find a list of licensed professionals in your area, please visit calmitdownpodcast.com. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review, or better yet, share it with a friend. While it takes less than 60 seconds to do, its impact will last for years to come, as every little bit helps in growing the awareness and the importance of mental and emotional health. Thank you for listening. Thank you for living. And until next time, be kind to your mind and join me again as we calm it down.